What's good? I'm Corey with Kick Theory, and I'm here today to give another early look. When we first started this year off, we knew we were getting two OG colorways, which is typical for Jordan Brand. They don't like to overdo the OGs. They like to just trickle them out as we go along, so we get about two a year nowadays. The first one was the Air Jordan 6 Carmine, and the second one is what we're going to look at today. Let's have a little brief history on the Jordan Low real quick. Michael didn't typically wear a lot of lows on the court, but there were a few styles that he actually did wear. The one low, I don't recall ever him wearing them, but I knew he wore them off court. Actually, he wore the Jordan 1 mid on the court quite a bit, and he did wear the Jordan 2 low. Now fast forward a few years, we get to the 11s. That was the next shoe that Jordan actually wore when he was on the court, was the Jordan 11 Low IE. And that's what we're going to look at today. Now, there is a Jordan 11 Low that we see a lot, and that's the one with the patent leather, which is just like the mid or the high. And I, for one, I'd never thought that MJ actually wore that on the court, but after doing some research, I realized that he did. He wore it in 1996 in the finals against the Sonics. He wore the Bred lows. Not many people could really tell because we didn't have HD TVs back then. And, you know, he wore black socks. So it kind of just blended in with the sock liner of the shoe, and it looked like he was wearing the normal Bred. But it was actually made just for him as a PE and didn't see a release until later on in the early 2000s. Now, when Air Jordan designer Tinker Hatfield sat down and designed the Jordan 11, he wanted to do a low top as well. But he wanted to keep it kind of separated from the actual look of the Jordan 11, like the patent leather. He wanted to make a more wearable shoe for the summertime that was kind of lighter weight and more breathable. For the packaging with this release, as you can see, we get OG packaging. This is something I really love. I love when they do this, especially when they're making an OG model and colorway. I like for them to hold true to the roots of the shoe and give us the packaging that originally came in. So this is the box that these shoes came in 1996. It's got, you know, the writing on the side, and if you notice, there's no Jordan branding on this box other than the size label here. So we got a Nike swoosh on the lid. It's got the Just Do It on the side. So I definitely remember this box very well, so it brings a lot of nostalgia for me. The tissue paper is going to be your regular trash bag paper, as I call it. So we saw this a lot on some different Jordan models like the 10, 11, and just various models. There's really no rhyme or reason to when they use this type of paper. And here are the shoes. The Jordan 11 Low IE OG Bred. As you can see, this looks a lot different from the Jordan 11. So we've got some Cordura mesh on here, which was actually inspired by a backpack, and there's no patent leather. So there is a mud guard, but it's suede, and it kind of runs along the midfoot here, and it definitely gives a totally different aesthetic to this shoe. So it's not, you know, it definitely has more of a summer vibe to it. So I understand where Tinker was going with this, but it still holds true to that iconic 11, using the same midsole and outsole that the 11 used, and the sock liner and all this around here is just pretty much about the same. Now, if you notice on the top of this upper here, it's kind of got like a ribbed pattern. Now, this was Tinker's way of kind of giving us a preview to the next Jordan model, which was the Jordan 12, which it had inspired by the Japanese flag, the rising sun. So you get that same type of stitching that you saw on the 12, or similar stitching. It's not exactly the same, but this was kind of Tinker's way to preview that shoe, and I thought that was really cool. The top of the tongue is going to have an embroidered oversized Jumpman on it, and leather on this shoe is nice. I will say the materials are nice. They did a pretty good job on this one. So that tongue has got a nice soft tumble to it. Now, coming around the heel, there's nothing on the back of this shoe. That red sock liner really pops out, and I really always love that about this shoe too. And you can kind of, you know, style up differently with this. You know, you can see your socks through this one. So I remember back in the day, I used to wear white socks up under this shoe. I actually had the original pair back in '96, so I'm very excited to have this back in my hand. And that outsole is giving us that OG translucent, that milky looking outsole. So the carbon fiber plate is going to be found up under there, and it's going to have that red-black checkerboard. And just a quick fun fact about the carbon fiber, Tink was inspired by speed skates and football cleats when he used this carbon fiber technology. It kind of, he thought if it makes a receiver fast and a speed skater faster, it's got to do something for a basketball player. So that's why this was the first shoe that he used that carbon fiber in, and he was pushed back on by Nike at first when he first introduced that idea, and just like Tinker, he was always very persistent on getting something that he wanted. So, and it actually turned out to be great. They used carbon fiber, I think, on the 12, and I think it's used on the 13 as well. But a little fun fact too here is Tinker kind of showed this carbon fiber through the outsole. Now, a lot of you may know that Tinker designed the Air Max 1, which was the very first Nike shoe with an exposed air bubble. And that was Tinker's idea. He got that idea from a factory in France that had all of the like the AC and the pipes and everything were on the outside of the factory. So it was kind of a different view of how you would build something. So that's how he got the idea to show what was in the midsole. So that's where the Nike Air Bubble was born. So he kind of paid homage to that by letting you kind of see some of the tech in this shoe as well. So you do see that carbon fiber plate in all the 11s, which I love that as well. Jordan actually debuted this shoe in 1996 in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks at Madison Square. Jordan dropped 46 points, but the Bulls lost the game. But he did wear this shoe in a couple of different games, and he actually turned his ankle in that game wearing this shoe. So I'm sure that's why he preferred to wear mid-tops, because this being a low, it never felt like a basketball shoe to me. It always felt like it was geared towards lifestyle, which, who knows, that might have been kind of a window into the future back then. Now, as we do a little comparison here with its high top friend, or high top sister, I should say, it's very, very different, but it's very similar at the same time. So as I mentioned, you do have the same midsole and outsole, but when you get to the upper, it's completely different look. You've got, this has got the patent leather. I mean, the Jordan 11 with the patent leather is so iconic, and I feel like that the IE kind of falls under the radar a little bit. Not many people, really think about this one when they think of OGs, but I definitely appreciate it quite a bit. So all in all, I think Jordan Brand knocked this one out of the park. From the packaging down to the materials, and it's really held true to the way it was in '96. Let me know what you think about this shoe. Are you into Jordan lows, or you prefer the highs? That's all I got for you guys today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you stopping by, and until next time, we'll see you at the shop.